All right. All right. Good evening. We have the greatest travel agent in the industry right now. I'm talking to you. This is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. I have ZaKirra Smith, my mentor, one of the greatest women out there. If you are not following her, you need to follow her after this interview. I promise you, she will not let you down. She's had an amazing day. She's welcomed a new family member into her family, and she's been going all day, but she's granted me access to talk to her this evening. And I'm telling you, this woman is amazing. She knows a lot about the travel industry, and she will help those who want to travel learn how to travel. So, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good, good. So, my first question, because I know you're tired, is who are you as a woman?
Who am I as a woman? I'm a very strong, fearless, resilient woman who goes after her goals and her dreams, and I don't allow obstacles to stand in my way. I figure out what I want, and if there's obstacles there, I figure out how to get around them and get to what I need.
Okay, you heard it first from this woman, this black woman, this woman in her 30s, early 30s, and she's making moves in this game. My next question would be is why did you go into the travel industry?
Well, I originally went into the travel industry because I was told that the particular company that I was working for would allow me to build a legacy for my family. Getting into that, I quickly learned that I actually had a very strong desire to travel once I actually did start traveling, which took me an alternative route from when I originally started in the company. So I started in the company hoping to, build a legacy off of that portion of the business. But then once I started to travel, I realized that I enjoyed the traveling portion a whole lot more. So then I built my company based off that.
Now we met it seems like 2 years ago, and we met at a conference, actually a 10X conference, and I was so enamored with who she was as a person. We were at a party together, and she was just free spirited, enjoying life, and she was just like, life is what it is, and I was like, wow, I wish when I was that age. And I knew that you were younger than me, but I was like, man, I wish that I would have been that way when I was younger. And so um, I guess my next question would be, why do you think more people do not travel?
I feel like a lot of people don't truly understand how to travel, nor do they know the resources there are that are actually available for people to travel. And I think they allow for fear and their complacency of their unknown environment to get in their way of traveling.
So when you say fear, are we talking about just preconceived notions? Are we talking about just because mama and daddy didn't travel or they didn't have someone in their family that were people that were adventurous that they just are skeptical or think everything is a scam?
A little bit of everything you said. A lot of people tend to go off of what they know and what people tell them, instead of actually going out there and seeing it for themselves. And then actually being afraid to actually step out into that unknown for discovering it. So they allow a little bit of all of that to hold them back and being able to venture out and experience something new.
So I will tell the audience, the financial first responder is traveling with, I call her Z. We're traveling with her in Bali this year, and we're going to Dubai this year. Um, and so the top three mistakes, what do you think the top three mistakes are that people make when they make travel decisions?
Um, the top three mistakes. I think the first one would be a lot of people travel to places they haven't actually done their research on. So when they get there, they miss out on a lot of different opportunities that could have been taken or things that could have been seen because they didn't properly look into the place that they were going to fully see what is available to them, and what resources there they could have utilized to make their trip a whole lot better. A lot of people just jump ship and just go places just because other people do instead of actually doing that due diligence. And I think that's one thing that is a huge mistake that a lot of travelers make. Another thing, I feel like people don't actually take the time to prepare for their travels. A lot of people say that traveling is expensive when initially there's many systems in place for people to be able to utilize to cut down on the cost of travel. But again, going back to that research, they don't actually do it to actually prepare for their travel. So they're sitting here trying to save and spend out all this money when they could have taken a completely different route and made the trip a whole lot more affordable.
So
Um,
you go ahead.
No,
I'm
no.
sorry.
And the third thing was not utilizing, their off time as much as they should, as far as, going home from work and then actually relaxing. A lot of people, when they're off, they just go home and they chill out. And then when they try to vacation, they went on vacation during, their regular work days instead of utilizing our calendar the way that it's designed to actually take longer vacations and be able to vacation whenever you actually are off. People don't strategically plan that out, which I think is another mistake that most travelers make.
So what I've learned from you, Z, is that we're both police officers and we're both serving our communities. Um, I've learned from you just watching you that you don't let the job dictate who you are. You
Yeah.
dictate to the job who you are.
Yeah.
And so that's what I love about you and respect about you is that you do not subscribe to, I only get 5 days or 10 days or 15 days a year to travel. You basically were like, hey, I'll just take leave without pay if I got to, but I'm gonna travel. So I want the listeners to understand that if we can get the one thing we have is, yeah, you can make the money, but you can't get back the time.
Right.
And so my next question would be is how would you suggest that groups travel together and why? Because I know you're doing group trips now.
Correct. So I would definitely say group trips have the advantage because you're not traveling alone. So you're not going to be more, acceptable to being inside of a hotel room and being afraid to venture out, or you feel like you're having to deal with like scams and things like that. You're with a group of people, so you're more comfortable to venture out and to see new things. But a really great advantage of groups is that groups actually allow you to travel at a cheaper rate than what a single person or a couple would normally travel. So whenever you get a group of people together, it tends to drop your price of wherever you're going or what you're doing because you have more people.
Okay, now I've watched you change your brand from new travel to straight tripping. Can you kind of explain why you decided to change your business model or think about, why you did what you did as a young Black businesswoman, why you decided to do that? Because most people are even scared to start a business. You just changed brands completely and was like, hey, it's not about what I was doing, it's what I'm going to do.
Right. And so I started with my brand, One Life Luxury Vacations originally, and I was just planning trips for couples, singles, and people like that. And then I switched from that brand to the nude travel. The nude travel I learned was very risky when it came to safety and things like that. I started having a lot of perverted people and creeps in my inbox with certain content that I would post. And I didn't really feel comfortable with sending some people to a nude resort or putting together a nude trip, knowing that those type of people were out there. Although it was a very unique brand and it did get a lot of attention for obvious reasons. But the reason why I went from nude travel to my group travel now, or my brand of straight tripping, is because I had to eventually look at the bigger picture of where I wanted to be in life. And doing the smaller trips just wasn't going to get me there in the timely fashion of what I wanted to. With group trips, you have to be very creative. You have to be very strategic as far as planning, pricing, and things like that to be able to make the type of money that I need to make for my long-term goals. And also with the group travel, it also allowed me to be a trusted group travel agent for people can actually trust to pay me their money and send them on a group with me to another country. Because a lot of groups have a very bad rep of taking people's money and then they're getting to these destinations and their itineraries are completely empty and they spent thousands of dollars. So one thing I pride myself in is actually going to the destinations first, creating the itineraries, getting the experience, come back, curating the itinerary for my trips, and then actually hosting the trips myself, being there with the group so they know, hey, I'm here with you. Something goes wrong, I'm gonna handle it. And then I've also been here before, so I have the experience. I don't need other people's money to send me places. I can do that myself. So people know that, okay, she takes her business serious. She's not going to send us if she hasn't gone. She's going to go first. She's going to go get the experience, the knowledge, the expertise, come back, put the trip together, and then she's going to take people with her. So the group travel, it helps people with feeling safe with traveling with someone else. And then my personal brand allows people to know that there is someone out there that I can trust with groups, and travel with them, and they're not here just to take my money.
Okay, wow, that's a lot of information. And so like I feel comfortable that my wife and I are going to Bali with you in June. It's going to be the Bali Bash. I don't know if there's still room to go on the trip, but yo, I'm telling you, she's action packed. She set it out. For those people who may still be interested, at the end of this video, I'm going to ask her to give you a link if you're interested. I want to support our people as far as us getting out and doing things. Dubai, my goal is to take my whole family to Dubai for New Year's. She's been to both of these places, Egypt. She's been all over the world. And so, her and I experienced another individual who's been to over 100 countries. And a lot of people, unless they've been in the military like me, they've never really traveled. And so, my next question would be is what difficulties have you had or have you experienced or your clients have experienced during their travel? Like, like what problems have you been able to solve or fix? Because a lot of people say, well, I got a travel agent, or they use Expedia, and the travel agent is not a travel agent unless you're a travel agent, like she just said. You need to actually go visit and actually experience those things before you bring others.
So, two of the main things that I can think of issues that I've had is number one, currency conversions. And so a lot of times when you're in a country and they don't speak your native language and you have to have someone else to translate that for you, they're not always honest with how much things cost or the conversion of that. And so to solve that, I actually created my own currency conversion ebooks. That way, when I'm in certain countries, I can just flip through my ebook and see what the cost of something actually is. So I'm
Wait a
not.
minute, hold on. Now you sell these ebooks because that's a game right there. You gotta get on game to these people need to know this. Like, don't just show up, give your money, and think somebody gonna give you your money back. Like, you need to be selling that.
Right. So yeah, I created my currency conversion ebooks. The first one was for Dubai, which is from AED to USD. Because a lot of times you'll find that when you go to certain countries, you will actually lose cell phone service or internet access. So you're not able to actually Google their currency conversion to US dollar to see exactly what it is. So the only thing you can do is trust their word. And a lot of times it's unfortunate that you'll find out that they're not always honest. And so I created the currency conversion book to have to just download to my phone. I can flip through it and I'll know the exact amount in USD that I should be paying versus having to trust someone who's not speaking my language. Another thing that is an issue is scams. In a lot of countries, especially those countries where their economy isn't doing so well and they're hustling really bad for money. They find any and every way to try to pull a dollar out of you. Um, whether it's through taxis or services or simply assisting you to carry your bags or anything and try to force you into paying them money. So that's something you just really have to be on the lookout for when you're traveling certain countries that are hurting for clients and finances, because they'll find any and every way to pull money out of you. And with you being in a country you've probably never been to, you may feel obligated to spend this money when you honestly don't have to.
Wow. As the financial first responder and talking to people, it, in our sphere, I think that's really important because I think, we're so used to serving and providing services for others when we go on vacation, if we go on vacation, we feel sort of obligated to help the less fortunate. And so, gratuities or things of that nature that we might pay out we don't really understand the conversion. So that ebook is going to be strong. And I'm telling you guys now that if you get an opportunity to get her ebook, get the ebook and look at the conversion process, or even prior to you booking a trip with her or anybody else, make sure you understand the difference in currency, because that makes a difference. One of the things that it sparked something that I didn't think about, that I know we both know about, is that we've experienced or we've learned about people having medical conditions or even passing away when they travel. What advice would you give to those people that travel? Because I'm going to tell you, as a financial first responder, your insurance is not going to cover you if you get a medical condition outside of the United States, Mexico, or Canada. And if you die, or when you die, regardless of where you are, because we're all going to die, you need to make sure that wherever you go, you have the ability to get your remains or your body back with your loved one. So what advice would you give on that?
I would definitely say get travel insurance, because that's gonna be their way around being able to pay for those emergency medical situations, whether it's, an illness or death. Because it's extremely costly to fly a body back from another state back to the US. That's not a cheap process, and it may take a little minute, and it's very costly. And so travel insurance is going to be your golden ticket. I know some people may say they don't get travel insurance because everything's going to be okay, or this, that, and the third. However, you never know when or if something can happen. These third world countries, or any countries in general, you're exposed to elements that you're not used to in the United States, and you don't know how your body is going to react. And even though, even if it's not an illness and something happens, whether it's a car accident or something in another country, you're going to need finances to be able to get your body back or get you back, or if you need, hospital expenses. So travel insurance is definitely going to be your golden ticket to being able to financially take care of yourself.
So, an example, Lisa Lopez died when she was on a mission trip. And there's been multiple people that passed away or got hurt. You know, uh, why is it, do you think, especially 30-year-olds? See, I'm in my 50s, so I always assume that stuff happens, right? So, but when you're in your 30s, you think you're kind of invincible to anything. I guess you got the superwoman, Superman complex, and you just feel like nothing gonna happen. I'm going for 5 days, I'm good. Um, could you talk more a little bit about the different types of, like, I know with Travel Joy or with other programs, um, what what should a travel agent be talking to you about as far as insurance? Is like, what will pay the difference of the trip? What will give you partial payment? What will give you full payment? What would you say to that?
I would definitely say whoever you're using as a travel agent, you should ask them what insurance options there are, and they should be able to thoroughly explain what those options cover. Some insurances only cover you up until departure, and that means once you get on the plane and you fly out, you no longer have insurance. Some insurances only cover you during the trip. That means once you get on the plane and fly back, you have no more insurance. Every insurance is different, and you definitely have to read that fine print, because it may not cover things that you think it should cover. It may cover things that you think you shouldn't need. But they're all vastly different, which is why there's many different prices. But you want to make sure that whatever agent you're using, they're able to fully explain the insurance that is available and what it covers, as well as the dollar amounts that it covers, and you're okay with that amount before you sign off on it.
So you see, guys, this is why she's my mentor, because she's just explained to you what half of the travel agents don't explain to you. I already know the answers to what I'm asking her, and I know she knows the answers because she taught them to me. I'm telling you right now, stop dealing with it with different Priceline, Expedia, and all these things, booking your trips. I know you think you're being cheap, but you are being cheap. You're being basically irresponsible. So I guess the question would be, and I got more questions, but I want you to think about this. How can people work with you? Because they need to know the Z that I know, the Z that's professional, the Z that's beautiful, the Z that's a travel agent, the Z that's a mom, the Z that's a business partner with people, the Z that actually will make sure you get what you pay for. Like, you know, I'm just going to tell you, like, can they subscribe to you? Can they write to you? Now, look, if you're a creep or you some type of crazy person trying to get a number or something like that, we're not doing all that. This is for responsible people who really want to travel, who really want to actually expand their horizons and understand the breadth of being in different countries and being around different types of people. So just think about that. You tell them, you know, now or at the end how they can reach out to you, but they need to be able to reach out to you, whether it's an email, a phone number, or a website, right? So we're going to just say that for right now. That's an advertisement. But my next question is what are the three things you think that a person should do to be successful in the travel world? Because
Um,
some people might want to follow you and become travel agents. Because I can tell you right now, when I met you, you kind of was like, yeah, I do this and this is what I do. But I had to chase her down, y'all. She didn't just like hunt me down. This ain't, I mean, you know, people like, well, is this a multi-level marketing thing? No, this is a travel agent thing. And she is a professional in what she does. She's not going to hound you. She's not going to chase you. She's not going to try to sell you on a bunch of stuff. You either in or you out. So what would be those three things that you would say to a person that wants to be a professional traveler?
I would definitely say get a mentor who actually does what they say that they're doing. A huge issue in the travel industry is that there are thousands of travel agents, and I would say 90% of them don't even travel. So if you actually want to be a successful traveler, you want to be a travel agent as well. If you don't want to be a travel agent, but you still want to be a traveler, you need to make sure your mentor, whoever you're paying attention to, is someone who is actually traveling. Look at their social media, see that they're actually going places, see that they're actually doing what they say that they are doing. It's one thing for somebody to post travel deals all day long. It's another thing for you to see someone like me who's always on flights, in destinations, doing reviews, going live. I can actually, speak on live experiences because I'm in that environment. Because the last thing you want to do is call yourself getting a mentor for a travel agent who is only posting deals all day and they haven't gone anywhere. Truth be told, they can't teach you anything because when it comes to booking a trip, it's the same thing as booking a trip as a non-travel agent as it is as a travel agent. There's honestly no difference. But the difference that matters is that someone is actually traveling and getting that hands-on experience. And a lot of people drop the ball when they choose a travel mentor and they choose people who just, go off of hearsay or they get their information from somewhere else. My information is firsthand. It's something that I experienced. I don't go by he say, she say. I don't go by I heard. I go by I went and I experienced. This is what I want you to know.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Like, and so obviously you do train others to travel, as far as professionals to do what you do. But I mean, I can tell you right now, her time is limited. She does not waste time with people. And I imagine that at some point she's probably going to be charging thousands of dollars to train people to do what she does. I mean, you know, people are like, oh, well, she's a cop, she's a mom, but at the end of the day, we all have 24 hours and we're not going to waste our time on people who are pretenders per se. So, you know, I graciously appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. Um, what, as far as options to pay for trips or experiences, what do you suggest?
I feel like it depends on the individual and their needs. There's options where they can have payment plans, and sometimes those systems do go off of their credit. Some do, some don't. Honestly, I prefer to put everything on a credit card, and what that does is that allows me to accumulate either cash back or points towards another trip. I don't advise paying for a trip in cash because once that cash is gone, you can't get it back. I like for everything to be traceable. So I prefer to use a credit card to be able to pay for systems and things like that. If you can pay for it in full, that's great. If you need a payment plan, that's fine as well. But I just would say whenever you are paying for a trip, make sure everything is traceable. So if something were to happen, you could at least get some, if not all of your money back.
That would go into the different types of insurance programs, right? So whether you could get partial payment, credit, or all of your money back.
That's gonna, yeah, that's gonna fall into the travel insurance as well, because it's going to tell you whether or not you're able to get some money back, or you can get all back, or if you've lost it all. That's another key important thing about travel insurance, because it covers your investment.
Okay, and so what we know as travel agents, because she taught me, and I'm very grateful. Expedia, travel, what velocity, all these other different things, they're not telling you that. Yeah, you might get the cheap ticket, but you're not getting any advice. You're not getting a professional. You're not getting somebody to teach you this stuff. And I hate to say this, but as minorities, you already are behind the curve when it comes to travel. But then a little further, you can't assume that these box companies, and I say box companies, meaning bigger, larger companies, are going to tell you everything you need to do to actually get your money back. Like, it's a game. And unfortunately, you've been sold. And so if you don't buy the right insurance or buy the right certainties, you're lost out. You might get a credit, and that just means they hold your money. And what she just said is she just gave you a mouthful. She spit a whole bunch of game on how to actually do this. And for you people who decide that, oh, I can do it myself, unfortunately, I don't know everything about travel because that's not my main thing. She's learned this over years, and I've sat down and broke bread with her, talked to her. She spit so much game to me that I appreciate her just taking the time to actually like explain this, because I realize that if we talk about 100 people, 99% of the people, meaning 99 people, don't understand what she just said. You lose all your money because what happens if it's an emergency? What happens if it's a death? What happens if you run late to the airport and you can't get another ticket? You know, if you booked it yourself, you don't have a travel agent that you're talking to. And let's say that you don't book it through the travel agent, but you book your flight and then you do everything else through your travel agent. Your travel agent is responsible to make sure you get from point A to point B. However, because you didn't do that, or because you thought you were smarter than a travel agent, and I know most of y'all are smarter because everybody went to college here. You know, you're assuming that you can read contracts and you understand what's supposed to happen. But I'm telling you, you need a travel agent. And what better travel agent than this one that's in front of me, right? So we talked about the options. Now, how much can you earn offering travel in our industry? Like, if somebody wanted to work with you, are you charging them $10,000 to work with you, 100,000? I mean, are you just saying, hey, come along and I'll train you, and then I'll take a portion of your commissions? Like, what's your program? How do you do that?
So as
'Cause I'm
far
not
as
gonna tell them my deal. I'm gonna let you do your deal.
so as far as coaching, so those people who are not travel agents and they want to be mentored by me and on my team of travel agents, there is a fee of $200 that has to be paid, and then there's a $59 payment that has to be paid as well. That money does not come to me; it goes to our host agency, and they get those funds for purposes such as a website, access to travel websites to identify yourself as a travel agent, to get deals and things like that. Through that process, coaching through me is free because you're already on my team. You've already invested in me. Those people who are already travel agents who need coaching to increase their views on social media, to make their social media better, to make their brand better. I'm actually about to launch my coaching services now, that's going to start at $500 for those agents who are not under me, but they want coaching by me. And my coaching is going to be extremely unique because I don't do Zoom call coaches. I don't do over the phone coaching. Those agents will be required to fly out with me to a destination, and the coaching will be hands-on. Because there's what better way to learn how to do what you're supposed to do by actually doing it. I can tell you what to do all day long. I can send you a picture. I can send you a screenshot, but until you show me physically that you understand what to do and how to do it, then honestly, my coaching is no good. So if you're paying a fee such as $500, then we need to make sure that you're actually in the field, hands-on, and actually doing it. So whenever we're apart again, you can actually go back out and reciprocate the things that you were taught.
So basically, what I hear you saying is people who pay attention. And I can tell you right now, $500 is not a lot of money. I would actually say you need to be paying her $5,000 because the information that I've gotten from her is invaluable. And for those people that think I can figure it out myself, I can tell you right now, at 53 years of age, I had no clue, 2 years ago when meeting her. I mean, my wife and I are both travel agents because of her. And I can tell you that as a result, we've learned so much from her just based off of just listening. And for you people that always say, well, I can figure this out for myself. I'm smarter. I can do this. I can do that. Let me tell you something. Stop. Just stop. Stop trying to figure this stuff out. Get a mentor. And whether you pay them $500, $10,000, or $50,000 to train you to get a skill set that you can use for your rest of your life, you should do that. And I mean it humbly and respectfully. We go to college, we go to grad school, we do all these different things, and we get a degree. And then once we get a degree, that degree don't mean crap until you literally actually are able to do it. If you heard her, she's actually telling you, for you to learn from me, you got to go somewhere with me, and I got to train you while we're boots on the ground, feet on the ground, wherever we're at, to actually do that. And what I need you to understand is that just because you have a certain level of education does not mean you know what you're doing. And even if you go get certifications, you still need the experience. She just broke down to you that there's a plethora, a bunch of people who are travel agents who basically never go to the destinations that they're sending you to. And then they book trips that they have no clue about fees. They don't have how you're going to get to the hotels. They don't have the actual services that you'll get once you get to the hotel or the Airbnb. They don't tell you about the different programs that you can take advantage to skip through customs. They don't tell you about any of that. And I can tell you, she's taught me a lot of that. And so, even if you don't listen to me, the financial first responder, I'm telling you, you need to listen to her. You need to take the time and find out the information that she has, because it will not only save you money, but it could change your life. And so I hope that this information we've had or shared tonight was beneficial to some of you. A lot of first responders, they don't get a lot of time off like, Z and I do. We will not get paid to go and travel. They're on a fixed time frame. And so I wanted you to have an opportunity to talk to somebody that actually was doing it, that was in your field, that was not a perpetrator, but actually she's a gun toter like me. And so she actually does this for real. She worked, and then she was doing stuff today with her family, just like I worked last night. And so I want you to take the time to take her information down. Now, if you don't, hey, you're a loss. If you do, you're a gain. So with that said, Z, how can they get in touch with you? Because this ain't about me, it's about you.
On my IG, I go by ZaKirra Chantel. That is ZaKirra Shontel. On my Facebook is my first and last name, ZaKirra Smith, and my email is smithzakirra@gmail.com. That is SMITHZAKIRRA@gmail.com.
Okay, and the last thing the financial first responder gonna tell you. Look here. She already got a man. She don't need a man. She already has a family. She's a businesswoman. Only, only, and I say this respectfully, only people that are interested in traveling, learning how to do the travel game, or possibly becoming a travel agent, you should respond. Anybody else, don't respond. Don't waste your time, because yes, she beautiful, and yes, she make money, and yes, she's smart, but she's not interested in any of your shenanigans. Okay, we just gonna tell you that up front. And I hate to tell you that. Maybe you think that you got that swag or that thing that you can get her to change her. Here's the thing. She is a money-driven business woman. She is not interested in your craziness. Okay. I'm telling you that up front as a big brother. Don't come for her, because you'll deal with me. Okay. Or you'll deal with her man. Okay. So with that said, I thank you for your time and I appreciate you. And we will end this recording. And I definitely appreciate everything, Z.
You're welcome.